מה טובו, מה טובו, אוהליך יעקב.
Page 140 in your Machzor.
משכנותיך ישראל. Together. מה טובו. Get your voices warmed up for a beautiful day of davening. אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. ואני ברוב חסדך אבוא ביתך, אשתחווה אליך על קודשך ביראתך. מה טובו. Together. מה טובו. אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. מה טובו, מה טובו, אוהליך. How goodly are your tents, O Jacob, your people Israel. This is our tent, you are the people. Adonai ahavti meon, meon beitecha, umekom mishkan kevodecha, mishkan kvodecha, va'ani eshtachave, ve'echra אברך לפני אדוני עושי מה טובו. Let me hear you. מה טובו, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. מה טובו, מה טובו, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. ואני תפילתי לך, אדוני את רצון, אלוהים ברוב חסדך, אלוהים ברוב חסדך, ענני באמת אישך. מה טובו, מה טובו, מה טובו, מה טובו, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. מה טובו, מה טובו, מה טובו, מה טובו, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. משכנותיך ישראל.
Good morning, Jewish people.
Good Yom Tov.
Good Yom Tov. It's good to see everyone figure out how to get here, how to find a seat, how to park. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. So we get this opportunity once a year to do what we're about to do. We started it last night. We're going to go all day into tonight. We're going to take this opportunity to drop into truly figuring out what we want to live into, who we want to be. We want to review who we've been this past year and figure out ways we can do it differently in the year to come. So just take a minute. Like, people are still coming in because they're Jews. We take a minute to just get here. In a minute, we're going to come together as a kahal, as a congregation. We're going to come together with the call to prayer. So we stop being just individuals who somehow came to Barnum Hall this morning to be together. We stop being individuals. We become a kehillah. We become a congregation. You are the congregation for KI, whether you've ever been to services with us before, whether you've been here for years and years and years and years and years, doesn't matter. This is the congregation for Yom Kippur. This is Kehillat Israel, the congregation of Israel. So we turn to page 278 in our Machzor. We invite Lisa Wallman to accept the honor of opening the Ark as we call ourselves together as a kahal, as a congregation, with the call to prayer, the Baruch Hu.
Please rise. Together. Ya Elai, Ya Elai, Ya Elai, la 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 la. Ya Elai, Ya Elai, Ya Elai, la. Again. Ya Elai,
Ya Elai, Ya Elai, na 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 na, Ya Elai.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam, Leolam Vaed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. Lai lai, ya la lai, ya la lai, la 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 la. Ya la la, ya la la, la la la. HaMevorach, HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. Ya Elai, Ya Elai, La 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 la. La la la, la la la, la 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 la. HaMevorach together. HaMevorach, HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. Leolam Vaed. Leolam Vaed. Leolam Vaed.
We remain standing as we come to page 304. Before that, I will read on 298 below the line the words of Rabbi Sheila Peltz Weinberg. Every day, creation is renewed. Wake up and see unfolding in the spreading light of dawn the world and all it contains, coming into being new, fresh, filled with divine goodness and love. Every day, creation is renewed. Reflected in the great lights, we see a new day, one precious day, eternity. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod, Malchuto, Leolam Vaed.
You may be seated, and as last night, we invite our youngsters, and you can determine what that age limit is. We invite our youngsters up to the bima to lead us in the Ve'ahavta. We love when we have our youth.
V'shinantam levanecha. You shall teach them to your children. Come on.
Show your truck. Come on up. This is our future. You're the taller folk here. Go to the mic, guys. Go up to the mic. That's it. Look at this. Go show your punim. On 3. 1, 2, 3.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברתם בם ושבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך וקומך ושרתם מאוד על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
Yasher Koach. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful. It's inspiring.
Page 318, 157 in your machzor at home. As I said last night, we always include Mi Chamocha, no matter what day of the week it is, no matter what service we're in. Mi Chamocha is our prayer that reminds us of our mythic history of being slaves and being freed from slavery, and it is our opportunity always to remember the responsibilities of freedom, the responsibilities of keeping this world a place where freedom is possible and where people who are free can fulfill their own unique potential. 318, Mi Chamocha.
And sing with us. Ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Mi Chamocha. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefele, nora tehilot osefele, shira chadasha, a new song. שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים לשמך על שפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו מי כמוך נהדר בקודש נורא תהילות עושה פלא Nora tehilo Osefele. One last yai-lai-lai together as one community. Everyone. Yai-lai-lai-lai. Ya-la-la-la-la-la.
3:24, we come to the prescription the rabbis give us. They give us brachot, they give us blessings, because they know it's not the first place we go. When we get up in the morning, the first thing we don't say is, oh, thank you for such a beautiful day, right? We say, ay, really? Already? Really? This is absolutely normal. We are human. It is absolutely, the rabbis understand that we are absolutely 100% human beings. We kvetch, we moan. They understand that. They give us this practice of brachot, of blessings, to move us to a place of gratitude. Because we don't start there. That's okay. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to move into a place of gratitude. If the words on the page work for you, great. If the words below the line move you more, great. You can open the prayer book of your heart and pray what you find there. These are suggestions. These brachot are suggestions by the rabbi. But it's our job to truly live into, in these next few moments, to live into all the things that we have to be grateful for. As I talked about last night, this is what brings us to awe. This is what brings us to wonder. That we're even here. That we're here at all is a wonder, is a miracle. The Amidah, the standing prayer.
Atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Sarah Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el, Hagadol, Hagibor, Ve'anora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim Vekonei Hakol Vezocher Chasadei Avot Veimot Umevi Gehula Livnei Bneihem Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava 328, top of the page. Zochreinu lechayim. Remember us for life. Zochreinu lechayim. Melech hafetz b'chayim. ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני. מגן אברהם וזרע שרה. אתה גיבור. אתה גיבור לנו לעולם אדוני. רב להושיע. Page 330, מכלכל חיים. In the loyalty you sustain the living. מכלכל חיים בחסד. בחיי כל חי ברחמים רבים. סמך נופלים ורופאי חולים. ומתיר אסורים. ומקיים אמונתו. לשני עפר מעמוך בגבורות ומדומת לך. מלך ממית ומחיי ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמנת להחיות כל חי. ברוך אתה אדוני. ברוך שמו. מחיי כל החי.
On page 161 at home, 368 in your machzor, 358 in your machzor here. That's why I have glasses. Lador vador nagid godlecha, from one generation to the next will we declare the greatness of the one. Ariel Citrick joins Cantor Franco.
Okay, Shefala. You gonna use that one? Use that one.
we continue to the end of the concluding meditation or until you feel you finished your own private prayer, after which time you may be seated.
Page 466. Now that you're seated, I ask you to please rise. Remember, Rabbi Amy said last night we will be standing a lot today. She keeps her promises. We invite Jody Harris, Steve Jack, and Ella Schwartz, Lori Ordover and her beautiful children Jessica and Justin, and her grandson MJ, and Bob and Linda Scheibel to come forward to the Aron HaKodesh, to the Holy Ark, as we are about to take Torah out and bring it to you, the congregation, the community. Page 466. Vayehi b'neso Aharon, vayomer Moshe, kum Adonai v'yafutzu oivecha, v'yanusu misanecha, mipanecha.
Zion, Tetzei Torah, Urvaranai Yerushalayim. Ki mitzion, Tetzei Torah, Urvaranai Yerushalayim. Ki mitzion, Tetzei Torah, Urvaranai Yerushalayim. Ki mitzion, Tetzei Torah.
Page 468, at the high holidays, when we take out the Torah, we chant the 13 attributes that we believe represents holiness and what we are supposed to live into.
Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'Chanun, Adonai, 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 El Rachum v'Chanun, Adonai, Erech Apayim v'Rav Chesed v'Emet, Adonai. נוצר חסד לאלפים, נושא עוון ופשע, v'chata'a v'nakeh. Together, Adonai, Adonai. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'chanun, Adonai, 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 El Rachum v'chanun, Adonai.
Page 470.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh v'nora, Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh v'nora, Shemo.
Gadlul Adonai iti uneromema, Shemo Yachedav.
Adonai hagedula, v'hagevura, v'hatiferet, v'hanetzach, v'hakol. Ki kol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, ki kol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz. Adonai hamacha, v'hamid yaseh le'ol le'rosh. Yisrael, Yisrael, Leoraita Adu. Yisrael, Yisrael, Leoraita Adu.
Ora, kiss Torah as it comes to you.
Torah, Torah, hallelujah. Torah, Torah, hallelujah. Torah,
על שלושה דברים,
על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, העולם עומד. על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, העולם עומד. על התורה ועל העבודה
If you are part of the Torah service, in any way, please process up here with the Sifrei Torah.
Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama.
We turn to page 531 and 532. This is what our community reads on Yom Kippur. We studied it not so long ago in Torah study because we were in the book of Deuteronomy, which we are now finishing as we come to Simchat Torah. So this is many liberal synagogues read this alternative reading from Parshat Nitzavim. Atem Nitzavim kulchem hayom. Atem Nitzavim hayom kulchem. Sorry. Atem, y'all. Kulchem, all y'all. All y'all are here today. All y'all. That means little ones, old ones, even females are included in kulchem, all y'all. The reason we read this alternative reading is because it really is how we understand our obligation to be here at all together on this Yom Kippur, on all of our holidays, to be reading our sacred literature. It's about coming together as a people, leaning into our values, our morals, the teachings of people who have gone before us, who have walked the same experiences we've walked. We are here to dip into the wisdom of the generations. And so, Atem Nitzavim Kulchem is a democratic statement that our literature is for all of us. It is accessible to all of us, and it always has been. That was a revolution in the ancient Near East. That was a revolution in how things were done. That the sacred literature was available to all the people. Teaching, learning, what we're supposed to do is available to all of us. Page 532, we begin Nitzavim.
Ha'amot Sarah v'Michael, Lapid David ben Sarah u'Michael, ve'Esther Ishon. We are delighted to invite Stephanie Curley-Schwartz and Michael Schwartz, Luke Schwartz and Kate Glassman to lead us in the first Aliyah. Karen Shapiro will read the portion, and then we are going to do a very special blessing and a very special welcome into our community to Mila, who's 10 weeks old. this, please. Hold this. And then Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher kervanu la'avodato. V'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Atem nitzavim hayom kulkem lifnei Adonai Elohechem Rashechem Shavatechem Ziknechem V'shatev Yaakov Be'eretz Yisrael Tachem Nishechem Beger Asher Bekerev Machadecha Mekoter Mekcheha Adat Sheoev Maimecha Look over hope that live to breathe Adonai Elohecha Uvelat Ayov Asher Adonai Elohecha Kored Imcha Hayom
Yeshakor. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Mishaber Chavatenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah. May the Holy One of Blessing, who blessed the generations before us, may that same source of health, happiness, fulfillment, growth, and sustenance sustain Chen, Bat, Lapid, David, ve'Esther. Sustain Chen in health. May she grow in body, mind, and spirit, and may she be an example to all people of the best of what loving parents, loving family, and loving community can produce. And together we say, Amen.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
Yamod Avraham ben Dalita v'neach feigen Deina Rachel Avraham David ben Ruth Micha Chaim ben Deina Rachel ve'Avram David Adi Sarah bad Deina Rachel ve'Avram David Liba Eliana bat Deina Rachel ve'Avram David Kol Shumer ben Dover Rachel ve'Avram David Shani, Dana, Adam, and Arlene, Stanley, and Max, and Audrey, and Ella, and Cole Kaller, otherwise known as the Kaller Mishpoche, are invited to do Aliyah number 2. If you'll hold this for me. Grab that. And our beautiful Abe Spector, who's worked so hard to lead Torah, will read on page 532. Whew, that's a mouthful. One, two, three.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMorach.
Baruch Adonai Morach.
Baruch Adonai HaMorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. למען הקימותיך היום לא לעם וכו יהיה לך לאלוהים כאשר דיבר לה וכאשר נשבע לאבותיך לאברהם ליצחק וליעקב ולא איתכם לבדכם אנוכי כורת את הברית הזאת ואת העלה הזאת, כי את אשר ישנו פה עמנו עומד היום לפני אדוני אלוהינו, ואת אשר עינינו פה עמנו היום.
Yasher
Yasher Koach.
Yasher Koach. That was 1 year of a big sigh of relief, huh?
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tolenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Before the carolers leave, I just want to give a little plug for our Holy Land, the state of Israel. You know, KI has for years and years been taking family trips, and this year in May, Rabbi Amy is going to lead a very special, wonderful cruise through Europe that will end in Haifa, that will end in Israel, and you're all welcome to participate in that. But over the years, we have taken over 1,000 people to the Holy Land. KI can be very proud of that accomplishment. And the Caller family were part of one of those trips, and it inspired them so much that Max, their oldest son right over here, went to Israel to serve in the Israel Defense Force for 2 years, and he just finished his service in March. We're so happy to have him home. And Cole went to study at Alexander Muss this year, which I know, did you do that too? No. Okay. And they've been back since many, many times. So please join us when we have our Israel trips. Please God, in 2025, we'll have another trip, a family trip to Israel that you can join us on. Yasher Koach. Yamod. Halei Rachel Shmuel Tzvi, Chaim ben Lei Rachel v'Shmuel Tzvi, Suriel ben Lei Rachel v'Shmuel Tzvi, Ayer ben Lei Rachel v'Shmuel Tzvi. Shlishi, we invite the Klein Mishpucha, Lisa Spencer Jackson, Ezra and Grayson. Uri, our Harrison Wade will read the portion.
Not Harrison Ford, not yet.
No. Where is it? It's right. Hold on one sec. Hold on. Where is it? It's Kiyat 10. Right there. Kiyat 10. Hold on to this. Let them do the blessing. 1, 2, 3. Baruch Adonai Hamborach. Baruch Adonai Hamborach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kervanu la'avodato, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Ki atem yedatem et asher yashavnu be'eretz Mitzrayim ve'et asher avarnu ve'kerev hagoyim asher avartem ve'tir'u et shikutzehem ve'et gilulehem et va'even kesef v'zacha asher amarchim et va'even yishbachem ish o isha o mishpacha o shevet asher levavo foner hayom me'im Adonai Eloheinu lalechet la'avod et Elohei hagoyim hahem pen yesh bachem shoresh porerosh
Yasher Koach.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'hayei olam atah b'tochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
A good yontif, Yasher Koach. Yeah, one more plug. As you saw, Harrison and many of our young read from Torah, and our adults of all ages. Any of you throughout the year who wish to come up to the Bima to read a Torah portion, to lift a Torah, to recite a blessing, please let us know. Let us know. We feed off of your spirit, of your energy, and of your blessings to come up and participate. It wouldn't be the same without you and your participation, as we invite a 3-generation KI family, the Hernan family. David and Lisa will lift the Torah. I ask you all to please rise. What's up, my bro? How are you? I see you're lifting. Yes. Very heavy on this. I see that. Did you look out? You ready? V'zot haTorah Yasher Koach asher sham Moshe Ibnei b'nei Yisrael el al pi Adonai b'yad. Please be seated. We have the Maftir Torah, our second Torah. Miles Belkind will read the portion. Yamod Mordechai Simcha ben Malka v'Shmuel Dina bat Liba Mordechai ben Yoel Yoeleya Yisrul Shmuel Eitan ben Dina uMordechai Simcha Maftir Chazak. We invite the Singer family, Dina, Marty, Jacqueline, and Grant, to recite the bracha for our Maftir, our second Torah. If you'll hold on to this. Yes, brother. Yes, of course. Do whatever you want, brother. You get your note. You got it? You want the traditional version? Take your time, take your time. You get your One, two, three. Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Hamborach
Asher bachar banu mikol amin v'natan lanu et Torato Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Page 550 will find the Maftir for Yom Kippur.
Amen. Uve asor lachodesh hashvi'i hazeh mikra kodesh yeh lachem ve'initem et nafshotechem kol melacha lo ta'asu ve'hikraftem ola ladonai reach nichoach par ben bakar echad ayel echad kevasim b'nei shana shiva temimim yihiu lachem umin chatam solet belulav hashamen shlosha esronim lapar shnei esronim la'ayil ha'echad Isaron, Isaron, la'keves ha'echad, l'shivat ha'kevasim, se'ir izim echad, hatat, milvad, hatat, hakipurim, ve'olat, hatamid, uminchata, v'niskehem.
Yasher. Beautiful, beautiful.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam
Asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chaye olam ata b'kochenu, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. It is our custom to make a mishaberach over the open Torah. We make a mishaberach for those who are ill. Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah. May the Holy One of Blessing, who blessed our forefathers and our foremothers, may that same source of strength, courage, patience, humor, hope, and light, may that source bless those who are in need of healing of any kind, who we name now. May those we've named, those we name in our hearts, and anyone present who needs it, may they know rifu'at ha-nefesh v'rifu'at ha-guf, a full and speedy healing both of body and of spirit. V'nomar, and we say together, Amen.
We lift and dress our second Torah. We ask Scott and Joni Farb to join us to fulfill the mitzvah, and I ask you all to please rise. To please.
So you just have to bend like that and bend left, okay? You don't. He does. You have to dress.
V'zot haTorah shesham Moshe. Turn it. Left it. Please be seated. Our Haftarah will be led by Jason Axe. He will announce the pages. Please, God.
I brought reinforcements today. The blessing before the Haftorah is on page 552, and the portion we will read is on page 572.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar b'nviim tovim v'ratzav v'dibrehem ha'ne'emarim b'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah u'moshe abdo u'b'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek.
Page 572. Amen. Halozeh. Tzom evharehu. Pateach hartzubot resha. Hater agudot mota. V'shalach ritzutzim havshim. V'chol mota tnateku. Halo faros l'ra'av lachmecha. V'aniyim murudim tavi bait. Ki tireh arom v'chisito. Umibsarcha lo titalam. Az yibaka kashachar orecha. Baruch atacha mehera titma. V'halach lefanecha titkecha. Kavod Adonai asfecha. The blessing after the Haftorah is on page 576. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzur kol haolamim tzadik b'chol hadorot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer v'oseh hamdaber umkayem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek. Ne'eman atahu Adonai Eloheinu v'ne'emanim devarecha v'dafar echad midvarecha achor lo yoshuv rekam ki el melech ne'eman v'rachaman ata baruch ata Adonai ha'el ha'ne'eman b'chol devarav Rachem al Tzion ki hi beit chayenu ulamcha Yisrael toshia bimhera b'yameinu baruch ata Adonai mesameach Tzion bivaneha.
Sari Ehrenreich, are you here? Bert Kleinman will lead us in the prayer for our country on page 580.
At our communal time of great need, please read with me. Sovereign of the universe, mercifully receive our prayer for our land and its government. Let your blessing pour out on this land and on all officials of this country who are occupied in good faith with the public needs. Instruct them from your Torah's laws. Enable them to understand your principles of justice so that peace and tranquility, happiness and freedom might never turn away from our land. Please, O wise one, God of the life bread of all flesh, waken your spirit within all the inhabitants of our land and plant among the peoples of different nationalities and faiths who dwell here love and brotherhood, peace and friendship. Uproot from their hearts all hatred and enmity, all jealousy and vying for supremacy. Fulfill the yearning of all the people of our country to speak proudly in its honor. Fulfill their desire to see it become a light to all nations. Therefore, may it be your will that our land should be a blessing to all inhabitants of the globe, cause friendship and freedom to dwell among all peoples, and soon fulfill the vision of your prophet. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation. Let them learn no more the ways of war, and let us say, Amen.
Shkoach, Bert, on page 581. Becky Fish will accept the honor of leading us in the prayer for the state of Israel.
Rock and champion of Israel, please bless the state of Israel, first fruit of the flourishing of our redemption. Guard it in the abundance of your love. Spread over it the shelter of your peace. Send forth your light and truth to those who lead and judge it, and to those who hold elective office. Establish in them, through your presence, wise counsel, that they might walk in the way of justice, freedom, and integrity. Strengthen the hands of those who guard our holy land. Let them inherit salvation and life, and give peace to the land and perpetual joy to the inhabitants. Appoint for a blessing all our kindred of the house of Israel in all the lands of their dispersion. Plant in their hearts a love of Zion. And for all our people everywhere, may God be with them, and may they have the opportunity to go up to the land. Cause your Spirit's influence to emanate upon all dwellers of our holy land. Remove from their midst hatred and enmity, jealousy and wickedness. Plant in their hearts love and kinship, peace and friendship, and soon fulfill the vision of the prophet. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation. Let them learn no longer the ways of war. And let us say, Amen.
We invite our esteemed President, Stephen Lewis, to share a few words of greeting.
Shana Tova. It's my honor to serve you as president for the next 2 years. Like so many of you, when we're asked, how long have you been a member at KI? We immediately think of our children, when they started preschool, how long it's been since their B'nai Mitzvahs. For my wife Lois and I, our journey at KI began with our son William in the Red Room some 21 years ago. The time of leadership for the Lewis Yaffe family began shortly thereafter, with Lois joining the Board of Trustees as engagement trustee. For the next 20 years, Lois and I have taken turns serving time on the board in various capacities, never at the same time due to what we thought were bylaws prohibiting married couples from serving together. To my knowledge and review of the rules, I'm not even sure that that's a written rule, but it's probably a good idea anyway if couples don't want to spend all their spare time talking about temple business. In the many years I've served under wonderful presidents like Laurie Krauss, Bernie Resser, Maura Tenzer, Bert Kleinman, Kathleen Rawson, Laurie Hazenkamp, I've learned a lot about outstanding leadership and what the opportunity to be a president of KI can mean. I've been counseled that the president just keeps the train from running off the tracks, but in my experience, that was never the driving force behind their leadership. Each brought a special vision and a perspective that serendipitously just came to KI exactly when we needed it. In fact, I always thought there was some divine intervention in finding that right person at just the right moment. So with this in mind, I couldn't naturally help but wonder what would be my contribution to this legacy of leadership. I think most leaders would have to admit that planning and vision make up less than half of what they encountered in this position. The judgments we are called upon to make in the moment and reacting to situational challenges turn out to be more of a test of character, even surpassing the importance of actual experience. The phrase, people plan and God laughs, always comes to mind. So what I've been focusing on is about how to continue on our trajectory of growth, which is in stark contrast to the prevailing trends in spiritual organization memberships, focusing on what we're doing right and how to continue that. Thinking about what I know our family continues to get from KI is far beyond what Rabbi Rubin coined when we first joined. I remember him calling it Temple Beth Close. He was joking, of course, and the reality is that today, more than half of KI's members don't even live in the Palisades. What I've come to realize is that what makes this place so special is embedded in our name, Kehillat, community. And it is expanding our concept of community, whether that be in person, online, or through social media, that will be the key to our growth. Beyond KI's affiliation with any national movement, our brand is about community Judaism. Our spirituality is rooted in acts of sharing, kindness, support, and love. These are the highest ranking priorities that I've observed as a member of the congregation and as a member of the Board of Trustees. And I certainly felt it last week when my father took ill. I'm happy to report that he is at home because of incredible doctors and so many prayers from so many of you in the KI community. During the past few years, we've all faced a lot of unique challenges, and we've demonstrated resilience and determination in navigating them through as a community. And because we are KI, our acts of kindness have extended far beyond the walls of the synagogue with a welcoming spirit. Unlike the various synagogues our family belonged to when I was growing up, there is a distinct lack of congregational hierarchy at KI. Here, it's only a hierarchy of doers. Doers led by our amazing clergy and senior staff who lead by doing. But it is equally important that you know the members of the Board of Trustees who give of their time to make KI a place you want to be a part of in your life-changing moments and just simply life. To keep you engaged, the board, along with the senior staff, tirelessly look to create programs and activities for the community. But we often can only make educated guesses. We need to hear from you, and an important start in this line of communication is for you to learn who represents you on the board. To that end, what I'm hoping for during my time as president is that you'll come to know the outstanding women and men who serve with me on the Board of Trustees. And understanding their roles will hopefully inspire a new group of leaders who will want to take the reins in KI's future. So in the coming months, you will hear the names and see the faces in your weekly emails and learn what all these doers do. I do want to take just a few moments this morning to share the names and the positions, and I'm hoping with repetition, you will get to know them. Grant Alkin, Membership Engagement, Dara Davis-Beer, Youth and Family Education, Elise Cooper, Governance, Ken Rosenblatt, Finance, Matt Ross, Advancement, Mark Edelstein, Jewish Life, Hayden Ellison, Outreach, Emily Kane Miller, Communication, Allison Cooperberg, JEC, Jessica Lazarus, ECC, Amy Lair, Tikkun Olam, Bren Boston Padower, B'nai Mitzvah, David Stern, Facilities, Gary Winehouse, HR, Carol White, InReach, and our at-large and trustees, Ken Ehrlich, Elizabeth Jacoby, and Lonnie Farrar. Each are dedicated individuals who care deeply about the present and the future of KI and deserve to be continually thanked for their service. During Rosh Hashanah, we looked back on our past year with gratitudes for the blessings we received and acknowledged the moments that challenged us and allowed us to grow and learn. Today, being Yom Kippur, while being a solemn day of fasting and prayer, we seek to resolve to be better versions of ourselves. It is an opportunity to extend forgiveness and understanding to others and to work towards healing and reconciliation within our community. Let's make a pledge to come together even more in this new year and continue the mission of Kehillat Israel to support one another in times of joy and sorrow and constantly seek ways to make a positive impact on the world. On behalf of the entire leadership team, I wish you and your families a sweet, meaningful, and joyous high holiday season. May it be a time of personal growth, spiritual reflection, and the beginning of a year filled with health, happiness, and abundant of blessings.
That was beautiful.
We rise to return the Torahs to their home, the Arona Kodesh, 598. Yehalelu et Shem Adonai, Kini Zagav Shemo Levado, Hodo al Eretz V'Shamayim, Vayarem Keren Le'amo, Tehillah Lechol Chasidav, Libnei Yisrael Ham Kerovo, Hallelujah. Page 606, Gili Messer joins me at the Stender with Kohanecha Uvnucha Yamar, and when the ark we are set at rest, it is a tree of life to those that hold fast to it. All who uphold it may be counted fortunate. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace. Return us, precious one. Let us return. Renew our days as you have done of old. B'shut tzedek v'chasidecha yiraneinu ba'avur David avdecha Al tashev meshichecha
So as I said last night, I'm going to talk a little bit to my sermon last Kol Nidre night, where I completely left the rails, I completely left my notes, and it's always dangerous to do that. So I preached last Kol Nidre on what doesn't work for so many of us about the metaphors of the High Holy Days and about images, metaphors in the liturgy of the High Holy Days. It had been a year where several people had said to me that they were kind of dreading the liturgy of the High Holy Days given things that had happened to them in the past year. And so I talked a lot last Kol Nidre about what doesn't work for us, and it doesn't have to. We don't have to stay within those metaphors. We don't have to stay within those images, within that language. That's why we keep creating new machzorim, new prayer books, new sidurim, new language, new ways of talking and thinking about the things that are important to us, and to use language that does move us. So one of the things that happened was that apparently some folks left here hearing the rabbi said on Kol Nidre night that she doesn't believe in God. And they were very distressed. And I thought, well, I didn't say I didn't believe in God. Well, although I don't actually believe in God, I experience God. That's usually how I talk about it. But I realized because we liberal Jews are so uncomfortable sometimes with God language and people assuming what we mean when we say that word, we really don't use it very much. And we don't really talk about God very much. We don't talk about our God concept. We don't talk about what we mean when we say that. So most people, when we say God, think that we mean something that we don't mean. So I tell people the God that is represented by that word so often is a God I don't experience either. But because we don't talk about it, it turns out people think we don't have a God concept, that we have no relationship to the terminology that is the terminology of the sacred. But that's not true. So I decided, well, how would they know that if you never talk about it? So it's going to be okay. I'm going to talk about God. It's going to be okay. When I talk about God, really, in 13 years here, I haven't spoken about it, so I can understand how people might not exactly understand anything about what we mean up here when we talk about that. So I am, as some people know, if you've learned with me, studied with me at all, you know that I am a Kaplanian Reconstructionist holy roller. People belong to movements and denominations, and they believe some of it, they don't believe. It doesn't really matter, whatever. It's the movement you found yourself in, whatever. I am a Reconstructionist, Mordecai Kaplan, holy roller. I grew up in a Jewish day school. I grew up after that in yeshiva high school, where we had to cover our elbows and our knees. We played in Georgia, basketball in Georgia, in polyester, covering our elbows and long pants. So I know from a traditional background, I know from traditional God language, I know from those concepts, the liturgy, the practices, the rituals, the community, the language, the yearning, the trying to connect to what's bigger and better. All of that moved me so much as a young person. It held me, it saved my life in so many ways. This Jewish business of community, of sacred literature, of teaching, of wisdom, of really, really trying to figure out how to be better people. It spoke to me so deeply. And then at 16, I realized I was gay. And all of my world fell away. All of it. All of it. I knew I couldn't stay at yeshiva high school. I knew what that meant. Everything I knew and loved fell away. And certainly, relationship to what I had been told was a loving force that we call divinity, that we call God. Certainly, my relationship with that concept was shattered forever. I had been told that who we are is what matters, how we treat people is what matters, how we behave in the world is what matters, our character. And all of a sudden, that wasn't true. Now what was going to matter the most was who I loved. And it all fell away. It was a very, very painful, awful, horrible journey into the gaping hole at the center of my life. And I had no idea what to do with all of that yearning and longing, all of that connection, all of the gorgeousness of our tradition, all of the generations who spoke to me through the liturgy, who spoke to me through the music, through the practices that orient us in time. And so I didn't talk to God. I was done. I was done with God. It's not for me. I certainly couldn't live into a relationship where I had been so betrayed. And so I spent my college years doing what folks do in college. You shouldn't do what I did in college. And it was a time of growth and a time of exploration, but I had nothing to do with God. And I would go to high holidays once a year. Once a year, I would go on high holidays, but I couldn't go to Hillel. It wasn't working for me. It just wasn't what moved me about the tradition. And there wasn't really anywhere else to go. I couldn't afford to belong to a synagogue, obviously. And so I found myself in a Chabad, segregated, mechitza right down the middle congregation where I could just sit and cry the whole time. And no one cared because everybody's crying in a traditional shul all through the high holidays. And so I would cry and say, why do I do this to myself? I'm not doing this again. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going back. And then I would live into this gaping emptiness that was at the center of my life and my world. And then I came upon, when I graduated and went back to Atlanta, Georgia, when I graduated Northwestern and went back to Atlanta, I was introduced to a Reconstructionist synagogue where its outreach to gay and lesbian people was part of their mission. And I went into that service because my partner at the time said, if you don't go, you can't complain this high holidays about how lonely you are for all of those rituals and all of that music. You have to go or you cannot complain. I was like, not complain, like, oh, fine, one. I'm going to one. And I don't want to hear about it again. One fakey high holiday, whatever, one. And I walked into that synagogue and it changed the course of my life. Because I opened the machzor and I found traditional language with alternatives below the line. I found different ways of understanding the God concept in just the many ways God is addressed through the machzor, through the Reconstructionist Kol HaNeshama prayer book. I heard a rabbi preach from the bima, from her heart, her heart. The rabbi was female. And she preached from a place of deep wisdom, deep rootedness in the tradition. And I'm like, where has this been? Why didn't anybody tell me about this? Why didn't anybody tell me that you could come be a part of this amazing Jewish tradition, this Jewish heritage, and have a God concept that is nothing like the traditional concept of a being that decides and thinks and acts on the world, a supernatural being. Reconstructionism, Mordechai Kaplan and his students truly taught and lived into and believed that God is not supernatural. That doesn't mean God isn't real in our lives. God is not supernatural. God is transnatural, according to Kaplan. Kaplan and his students believed God is in everything. If God is the animating force of the universe, how could it not be in everything? It, capital I. If it is the universe unfolding, how could it not be a part of everything that happens? Good and awful, both. God is within the world, and God is bigger than the world. God is much bigger than anything we can possibly put into words, bigger than anything we could possibly comprehend. That's what he meant, and his students and those who founded Reconstructionist Judaism. They wanted us to take seriously the presence of the divine in our heritage, in our teachings, in our strivings, in our yearnings, in our longings, in our failures, in our successes. All of it is expressive of divinity. We are the divine incarnate. And we believe there is something bigger than us. We have to believe that. A belief is something you have to get past the need of proof for. That's why I don't talk in the language of belief or faith. Because I don't believe, meaning there's no evidence, but I'm going to believe anyway. I experience with y'all God. That's what we're doing here. Judith Ubik, God is a verb, right? We talk into our study all the time. That really, a noun is really not, it doesn't cut it. God is a noun. God is a verb. It's what we do together. It's what we create together when we reach out to each other, when we reach past our differences, when we reach past our fear and our suspicion and our cynicism and our hardened hearts. I know. If you harden, you protect. I know. And it's okay that that's our instinct. But the rabbis want us to be more than our instincts. That's the divinity they want us to tap into. The ability to grow and to trust and to risk and to love. It's hard, yeah? That's why we have to come here. That's why we do it together. That's why there are not Jewish monasteries. Because we're supposed to stay in the mix. We're supposed to stay in the mess. We're supposed to stay and do it together. Because when we live into the best of what we think about, when we think about what does it mean to live a life of holiness, if we God more often, if it's a verb, if we Godded more often, what would this world look like if we believe, if we trust that there is something that runs through it all, under it all, beyond it all, and it unites us with all life on this planet? What if we really acted in line with that? I can tell you there'd be a lot more species that would be safe from extinction if we truly acted like we are connected. It is one web of being, of mystery, of unfolding, of crazy evolution. We are evolving, but we get to decide how and into what are we evolving. This is what it means to say that we trust and know and have experienced something that I choose to call God. Other people might say, why do you even need to use that word? What's the point of using that language if you don't believe in a traditional being, a supernatural being? Because I feel strongly that we have to use the sacred to talk about the ultimate. And I believe there is holiness. There's stuff that's holy and there's stuff that's not. And there's ways of behaving that are in line with holiness and there are ways that aren't. And I believe it's important for us to label that sacred, holy, the ground of all being, the mystery at the heart of reality, the unity of all life and all things, deserves sacred language and sacred times and sacred expression and sacred music and art. And because we're Jews, food. I believe that it makes us better when we use language that I understand other people have taken and done all kinds of stuff with. I get it. And so a lot of us shy away from saying God. I get it. I totally get it. But what if we could really reconstruct it? What if we took it seriously? That there is something to which we're connected, each of us, and that we're connected to globally. What if we took seriously what living in line with that would mean from us? That's what Yom Kippur is about. That's what sacred time, sacred practice, sacred literature is all about. How to help us live differently so that all life on this planet has the opportunity, the potential to thrive. The other word we don't like is salvation. It's our word. That's our word, salvation. Mordechai Kaplan defines salvation as every human being reaching their full potential, actualizing the highest ideals of what they want for themselves and their community. If that's salvation, sign me up. What if we did that? What if we really spent more time and energy in pursuit of that, however we do that? And what if we gave our children permission to live into their potential the way they see it? What fulfills them? What if we treasured all children in this world? All children. That is salvation. And Mordechai Kaplan and his students believed in founding Reconstructionism that it's on us to bring about the Messianic age. It's on us. There's no Messiah out there. There's no force out there that's going to come fix it. It's on us. And our Machzor, our prayer book, talks a lot about the Messianic age that we can create if we take our teachings, our tradition, seriously. One of my favorite writers on theology is Anne Lamott, who says, let's not get bogged down on whom or what we pray to. Let's just say prayer is communication from our hearts to the great mystery or goodness or Howard. To the animating energy of love we are sometimes bold enough to believe in, to something unimaginably big and not us. We could call this force not me and not preachers on stage with a choir of 800, or for convenience, we could just say God. I'll close with the words of Rabbi Mordechai Kaplan. God is in the oneness that spans the fathomless deeps of space and the measureless eons of time, binding them together indeed, as we do in thought. God is the sameness in the elemental substance of stars and planets, of this our earthly abode, and of all that it holds. God is the unity of all that is, the uniformity of all that moves, the rhythm of all things, and the nature of their interaction. God is the mystery of life, enkindling inert matter with inner drive and purpose. God is in the faith by which we overcome the fear of loneliness, of helplessness, of failure, and of death. God is in the hope which like a shaft of light cleaves the dark abysms of sin, of suffering, and of despair. God is in the love which creates, protects, forgives. It is God's Spirit that broods upon the chaos we have wrought, disturbing its static wrongs and stirring into life the formless beginnings of the new and better world. So may we help create that this coming year. Shana Tova. One of the many terms for God that I find deeply moving in Hebrew, makor, source, capital S, of life. Source of life, that which draws us into life, into living fully. That longing, that inspiration, that connection, makor hachayim, source of life.
מקור החיים שמע קולנו, מקור החיים חטאנו לפניך, מקור החיים חמור עלינו ויעלול עלינו ותעפנו. מקור החיים קרעי דבר וחרב רעב מעלינו. מקור החיים קלי כל צר ומאסתי מעלינו. מקור החיים, מקור החיים, כותבנו בספר חיים טובים. מקור החיים, מקור החיים, כותבנו בספר חיים טובים. מקור החיים חדש עלינו, שנה טובה, שנה טובה. מקור החיים שמע קולנו, שמע קולנו, שמע קולנו.
We invite the Ziman Winehouse family to come up on page 346.
Wow, look at that.
Unatana Tokef, the
You just show them.
core prayers, the core liturgy for the High Holy Days. Again, I don't take it literally, but I, like all of us, have lived into the reality that we don't know what's coming in the next year. We don't know. And this Unatana Tokef prayer is all about the fact that we don't have control and we don't know. So let us do the best that we can to live now into who we want to be.
Let us ask ourselves hard questions, for this is the time for truth. How much time did we waste in the year that is now gone?
Did we fill our days with life, or were they dull and empty? Was there love inside our home, or was the affectionate word left unsaid?
Was there a real companionship with our children, or was there a living together and a growing apart? Were we a help to our mates, or did we take them for granted?
How was it with our friends? Were we there when they needed us or not? The kind deed, did we perform it or postpone it? The unnecessary guide, did we say it or hold it back?
Did we live by false values? Did we deceive others? Did we deceive ourselves? Were we sensitive to the rights and feelings of those who worked for us?
Did we acquire only possessions, or did we acquire new insights as well? Did we fear what the crowd would say and keep quiet when we should have spoken out?
Did we mind only our own business, or did we feel the heartbreak of others? Did we live right? And if not, then have we learned, and will we change?
It's just apropos that the Ziman family and Winehouse family are up here that we take the opportunity to wish one of our dear members and one of the great leaders of the LA community and the Jewish world is Dick Ziman, who is going to be honored by the Jewish Federation this coming October. So we welcome and honor you, Dick, your KI community.
872 is Unatana Tokef, 183 in your machzor at home. We rise as the ark is open.
Kol
Gadol Yitaka. They called Imamadaka
Top of 874.
Mavir mavir tzoynoi mavir tzon tachat shiveto kein tavir betis por betimene oi betivet kod nefesh betivet kod nefesh Mavir mavir tzoynoi mavir tzoynoi tachat shiveto kein tavir betis por betimene nefesh kohai
The other anchoring liturgy for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. B'Rosh Hashanah yikatevu v'yom tzom Kippur yechatemun. May we write ourselves into a good life for this year.
בראש השנה יקטר
ומי ומים, ומי וחרב, ומי וחיה, מי ורב, ומי וצמא.
מי ברש ומי במגפה, מי בחניקה ומי בסקילה.
בראש השנה ייכתבו, וביום צום כיפור ייחתמו. בראש השנה
ייכתבו, יום צום כיפור ייחתמו.
מי ינוע ומי ינוע, מי ישקט ומי יטרף, מי ישלם ומי יתייסר, מי יעני ומי יאשר, מי ישפל ומי ירום. בראש השנה ייכתב, וביום צום כיפור ייחתמו. בראש השנה ייכתבו, וביום צום כיפור
You may be seated. On page 953, below the line, the Jennings family.
Hear our voice.
We do not ask God to hear our words, but rather to hear our voice.
The deepest prayer of the heart is often articulated in sounds rather than in words.
From the sobbing of grief to the sighing of pleasure, we know the power of our own voices.
When we have been separated from those we love, our first reaction is often, "It is so good to hear your voice." In such moments, it almost does not matter what is said.
So too, at this sacred season, we imagine God's pleasure in hearing our voices again, reuniting, reconnecting, and renewing our hopes for rebirth. Hear our voice. We are here.
Please rise as the ark is open.
Page 954, Shema Kolenu, hear our voice. We don't have to believe there's a being listening for us to feel heard. And all of us want to be heard. All of us want to be seen. All of us want to be treasured. Shema Kolinu, can we get in touch with the longing to hear what's really in here for each of us? And can we as a people listen for what we're called into to make this world a place of greater holiness and goodness? 9:54.
Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Shema Kolenu, Shema. Shema Kolenu, Shema, Shema Kolenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Chus v'rachem Aleinu, Chus v'rachem, Chus v'rachem, Chus v'rachem Aleinu, v'kabel ברחמים ברחמים וברצון את תפילתנו. השיבנו, השיבנו, השיבנו אדוני אליך. השיבנו, השיבנו, השיבנו ונשובה. השיבנו ונשובה חדש. ימינו ימינו כקדם. אל תשליכנו מלפניך, ורוח קודשך אל תיקח ממנו. אל תשליכנו, אל תשליכנו, ורוח קודשך אל תיקח ממנו. אל תשליכנו לעת זקנה, אל תשליכנו לעת זקנה, אל תשליכנו לעת זקנה, ככלות כוחנו אל תעזבנו. איי 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 Shema Koleinu, Shema, Shema Koleinu, Shema, Shema Koleinu, Adonai Eloheinu, Chus v'rachem Aleinu, Chus v'rachem Aleinu.
Turn to page 959, 192 in your Machzorim at home. Sophie.
We want to wish Sophie a mazel tov. In 2 Shabbosim and 2 weekends, she will be married. The young bride. Sophie and I go back since we're 8 and 10 years old. My father was her cantor. Her grandmother, Ada Barron, was a lay leader in the congregation and a very close family friend in Encino at Marav Temple. We used to have our holy days at the Sheraton, the Universal Sheraton. And I would leave the choir during the rabbi's sermon. And Sophie and I would go play on the escalators. This Yom Tov is about memory, about cherishing our memories, what our beautiful, beloved senior rabbi spoke of. That God is a verb. And it's in those memories where the divine for me lives. Sofala.
Me too. Am I just meant to tell people to stand up?
Not yet.
Okay.
They can sit for a minute.
Okay. We have acted wrongly. We have been untrue. And we have gained unlawfully and have defamed. We have harmed others. We have wrought injustice. We have zealously transgressed. And we have hurt and have told lies. We have improperly advised, and we have covered up the truth, and we have laughed in scorn. We have misused responsibility and have neglected others. We have stubbornly rebelled. We have offended. We have perverted justice. We have stirred up enmity. And we have kept ourselves from change. We have reached out to evil. We have shamelessly corrupted and have treated others with disdain. Yes, we have thrown ourselves off course, and we have tempted and misled.
Page 960. Now we do it in the Hebrew. Now we do it as a communal confession, because all of these things that Sophie Howard just read, all of them, we're engaged in it. And that's just how it is. We want to try to do it better. We want to try to do it differently. 960, the communal confession, Ashamnu. And for that, you got to stand.
No. Do you need it? No. No. Ay, 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 193 at home. Page 193 at home. Our virtual community, which we love and adore. Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu, Dibarnu Dofim, Ay, 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 ay. Tafalanu shaker. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ya'atznu ra, Hizabnu, Latznu, Aradnu, Liatznu, Sararnu, Avinu, Pashanu, Sararnu, Kishinu Oreh. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Rashanu, Shichatnu, Tiabnu, Toinu, Titanu. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay.
Page 969, we continue with the alternative al-Khait in English, and we will sing the refrain in Hebrew that is in the middle of page 969. For the wrong we did before you by listening to voices at odds with what we knew was right. For the wrong we did before you by not listening to voices telling us unpleasant truths. For the wrong we did before you by closing our ears to the poor and the hungry. For the wrong we did before you by not working at relationships. For the wrong we did before you by making no time for those who needed us. For the wrong we did before you by abusing our health. For the wrong we did before you by unnecessary anger. For the wrong we did before you by giving in to bullies. For the wrong we did before you by talking of others' failings behind their backs instead of face to face.
Ve'al kulam Eloah selichot Salanu mechalanu kaperanu.
For the wrong we did before you by forgiving in Jews what we condemn in others. For the wrong we did before you by forgiving in others what we condemn in Jews. For the wrong we did before you by taking Israel for granted. For the wrong we did before you by polluting our environment. For the wrong we did before you by cutting ourselves off from people of other races and cultures. For the wrong we did before you by being afraid of others' disabilities. For the wrong we did before you by callous treatment of those with whom we live. For the wrong we did before you by callous treatment of those with whom we work or study.
Ve'al kulam Eloah selichot Selach lanu mechalanu kaperanu.
For the wrong we did before you by ignoring the ever-present threat of war.
For the wrong we did before you
by bearing grudges. For the wrong we did before you by indulging in excessive luxuries.
For the wrong we did before you by giving less tzedakah than we could afford. For the wrong we did before you by manipulating others for our own gain. For the wrong we did before you by making those we love feel guilty. For the wrong we did before you by ignoring important issues in our own community and country. For the wrong we did before you by being ashamed to act morally in public. Selichot selach lanu mechalanu kaperanu.
You may be seated on page 988. Sherry Burdorf will share the words of Robert F. Kennedy.
Let no one be discouraged by the belief that there is nothing one person can do against the enormous array of the world's ills, misery, ignorance, and violence. Few will have the greatness to bend history, but each of us can work to change a small portion of events. And in the total of all those acts will be written the history of a generation. It is from numberless, diverse acts of courage and belief that human history is shaped. Each time a person stands up for an ideal or acts to improve the lot of others or strikes out against injustice, he or she sends a tiny ripple of hope. Crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring, these ripples can build a current which can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance.
Amen. Amen. You hungry? Tired? Yeah. We're getting there. We have our food drive. We need you to donate to the food drive. We are only 30% of the way. We're usually halfway there by now. We need you to donate at rki.org/food drive. We have a long way to go, and they depend on us. For those people choosing between school supplies and food, we need to fill their warehouse with food at the Westside Food Bank. We have Yom Kippur services and events throughout the day. Today, Mincha begins at 4 o'clock. The guest speakers that we've been telling you about speak at 4:30, Gary Wright and David Kaczynski. David is the brother of the Unabomber, and Gary is a victim of the Unabomber. And they have developed an incredible relationship and friendship, and there's not a better example of what forgiveness can look like in our lives than their story. Yizkor is at 5. Ne'ilah is at 5:30. All of these are live at Barnum Hall here, of course, or available on our live stream. The Sukkah Bash, we are doing it again this year because we had such a good time last year. That Sunday, October 1st at 5, there'll be celebration, there'll be food, there'll be wine, there'll be dessert. There's stuff for kids to do, but there's lots for grown-ups to do, to just relax after these high holy days. That's the point of Sukkot, biblically, was to enjoy all the work that we've done. And for any more information about the high holidays, rki.org/HHD. We thank Amy Levine and Galina Barskaya. We thank Bert Kleinman. Nothing would happen up here without Bert Kleinman. So those people who lead our choir, who fills out our day, who fills out our services, who brings our liturgy to life. We thank Pro Angle for the video production, Net TV for streaming, the staff of Santa Monica High School, the entire KI staff, and B&B Mensch security. And yes, they're here. We sometimes have people say, there was no security at the high. Yes, they're here. They're here. They're the ones in the really nice suits.
With the things in their ears.
With the things in their ears.
And December 8th, Mamma Mia Shabbat for Hanukkah. I'm going to announce it every week. Mamma Mia Shabbat for Hanukkah with a great Mamma Mia cover band. Last night, everyone told me how beautiful Audrey and Cole Caller sang. Audrey Caller will be singing on December 8th. December 8th, Mamma Mia Shabbat for Hanukkah.
October 8th, if you want more information about the trip that we're taking in May, the cruise, please come to Joni Farb's house. She always has a great spread, and we will have brunch and fill you in on anything you want to know about the cruise that's in May.
Please rise, put your arms around others if you are comfortable doing so. To conclude this part of the service, of course, it's an ongoing full day of Yom Kippur, so the services don't conclude. They just continue on until 6:30 or so.
And on.
We will end about 6:30 for creamed herring. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen amen. Amen. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל. Amen together. Amen. Yasher Koach.
Turn to someone next to you, wish them good yontif and a meaningful fast.
Gamar Chatima Tova.
There's no